everyone! Welcome back to my Accelerated Reader AR Kids Book Reading Aloud channel. Our story for today is Ellie, written and illustrated by Bill Peet. AR book level is 3.5 with 0.5 points. Ellie. Once upon a time, there was a lion named Ellie who lived in the faraway land of Kumbambazango. He was a decrepit old cat with a scruffy mop of mane, and most of the thunder had gone out of his roar. Now, after many long years as a proud king of the beasts, the old lion had finally become as meek as a mouse. Whenever the other lions gathered for a feast, Ellie didn't dare to join in. It was much too rough. One big snarling free-for-all with every cat for himself. So the old fellow waited until the lions all had their share, and the hyenas and jackals had eaten their fill of the leftovers. Finally, Ellie joined a squawking, squabbling flock of vultures for what scraps and small bits he could find in the clutter of bones. The noisy birds were a nagging nuisance to the old lion, and he tried to avoid them as best as he could. Whenever a vulture ventured too close, Ellie scared the bird off with a rumbling growl. "An old cat like me can't afford to be choosy," he grumbled, "or too proud to have dinner with these beggars. So I must put up with their bad manners and their awful squawking. But I'll never make friends with the lowly creatures, not as long as I live." After a time, Ellie was able to ignore the birds by pretending they weren't there, just as if he were having dinner alone. Then one day, an old vulture let out such a terrible, ear-splitting scream, the lion shivered and shook all the way to his toes. The bird kept screaming and screeching until Ellie couldn't stand any more, and suddenly he turned on her in a snarling fury. But when he realized she was screaming for help, that a jackal had caught her by a wing and was about to drag her away, Ellie took pity on the poor bird. In one frantic leap, and with a wild swing of a paw, Ellie caught the jackal with a clout to the snout that sent the little rascal yelping away with his tail between his legs. Once the old bird was free, she was surrounded by a dozen fussy, fretting friends. "Vera! Vera!" they cried. "You poor thing! Are you hurt? Are you hurt?" "Not in the least," said Vera, "thanks to that dear old lion." "He is a dear!" the birds exclaimed. "One prince of a fellow!" All at once, the vultures were flocking around Ellie, singing his praises in loud, screechy voices. "Leo's a jolly good fellow, Leo's a jolly good fellow, Leo's a jolly good fellow. Oh, what a great lion is he!" "My name is not Leo," snarled the miserable lion. "I'm Ellie, and I'm not great. There's nothing great about saving a worthless old bird. It was nothing at all, so forget it." But the vultures were never going to forget Ellie, not after such a great act of kindness to one of their flock. To them, he was a hero whether he liked it or not. And to the old lion's dismay, the birds followed him wherever he went. If he took a morning stroll, his faithful followers came fluttering along a short distance behind. In the heat of the afternoon, when the old lion flopped down in the shade of his favorite tumbaba tree for a cat nap, the vultures were there too, roosting in the branches above. "I see enough of these birds at dinner time," grumbled Ellie, "without being stuck with them from morning till night. Enough is enough, and I have an idea of how to get rid of the pests once and for all. I'll insult them. I'll call them all the meanest, most horrible things I can think of. After that, they'll never want to see me again." Raising his voice to a rumble to make sure all the birds could hear, the lion let them have it. "You good-for-nothing, grubby old bone pickers! You flea-bitten beggars! You ugly old coots! You give me the creeps! Skedaddle! Take off! Get a tree of your own! Leave me be!" For a minute, the vultures were so horrified by the sudden outburst, they were left googly-eyed and speechless. Finally, Vera, the old bird Ellie has rescued, spoke up. "I can't blame you for feeling this way," she said. "We are indeed creepy old things. We will do as you wish and leave you be. But no matter what you say, we are still your friends. And in some way, we old birds might prove to be useful someday." That someday came surprisingly soon. It was the very next afternoon. Vera and her vulture friends were circling high above the plain, searching for leftovers when they spotted a band of Zubangas armed with spears, sneaking along through the bush. Being ever so curious, Vera swooped down for a better look to discover that the men were tracking a lion. The old bird guessed at once whose paw prints they were, and she took off in a tizzy to warn the old cat. Vera found the lion in his usual spot under the tumbaba tree, deep in a catnap. "Ellie! Ellie!" screeched the frantic bird. "Wake up, old lion! Wake up! The Zubangas are coming!" "The Zuhus?" mumbled the drowsy, sleepy-eyed lion. "The Bangzuis? The lion hunters! The men with the spears! They're hot on your trail!" "Lion hunters? Spears?" wailed Ellie, sitting up with a shiver of fright. "What'll I do? Where'll I go?" "To the Gumbazunka swamp! Quick! On your feet! Follow me!" Off they went, with the frantic vulture fluttering ahead, urging the lion to pick up the pace. "Faster! Faster! Shake your bones, old cat! Run scared! Lickety-clip!" "I am running scared," yelled Ellie, "but I can't lickety-clip! My top speed is lumpity-clumpity!" And he kept lumpity-clumping along as fast as his gimpy old legs could carry him. "There you go!" cried Vera when they reached the edge of the swamp. "Wade out into that soup and scrunch down in the gunka-zunk grass. The Zubangas will never look for you here." "No lion to look for," groaned Ellie, "after those clobber-jawed crocodiles finish me off." "Oh dear! Cracks all over the place! I forgot about those lousy lizards. Now, you've got to hide somewhere else." "I'm not hiding," Ellie muttered under his breath. "I'm a lion, and I'm going to be brave and act like a lion." at once, the old lion exploded into a great, snarling, roaring rage. "I'll give them a battle," he bellowed. "I'll give the vultures, or whoever they are, a battle that they'll never forget." And he wheeled around and went roaring off to meet the Zubangas. "No, no!" screeched the horrified vulture as she came sailing after him. "Stop! Stop! Don't you dare, you silly old cat!" In a flick of an eye, Vera caught up to the rampaging lion and cut loose with such a fierce peck on his snoot that Ellie went rocking back on his heels. "This is no time to be brave," the bird pleaded. "If you put up a fight, you won't last a minute." "Then what I'll do?" growled Ellie. "Act like a ninny, roll over and play dead?" "Yes, yes!" cried Vera. "Great idea! Roll over and play dead. I mean it. Flop down. Play dead. Go ahead!" "Like this?" asked Ellie, sprawling out on his back in the weeds. "Perfect!" cried Vera. "Just standy. Now hold it. Don't you dare budge. Don't wiggle an ear or twitch one whisker. Stay put while I round up the rest of the act. I'll be back in a flash." In a flash, the old vulture was back with her flock of bone-picking friends, and as they came swooping down on the play-acting lion, Vera was shouting instructions. "Swarm all over him! Peck, peck, peck! Pitch in, everyone! Make it look real, but don't get too rough!" In an instant, the vultures were all over Ellie, pecking away at their make-believe feast, squawking and squabbling to make it real. In the next instant, the Zubangas came charging over a hill, all set to attack. But when they caught sight of the sprawled-out lion swarmed over by a mob of squawking, pecking vultures, they staggered to a halt and gaped in surprise. How could it be? They wondered. "Simba, the great cat, done in? What happened? What got poor old Simba?" "Speared by a rhino," muttered the chief. "Or snakebit. No telling what. Anyway, we can't fight a dead lion, so let's call it a day. Hoppo, let's go." Then, grouching and grumping about their bad luck, the Zubangas turned and went trotting back over the hill. "Ho ho! I do believe we fooled him," cackled Vera. "But hold everything while I make sure they're gone for good." And she sailed high into the sky to keep a sharp eye on the Zubangas. She kept watching until they were no more than tiny dots in the distance. Then, cheerily, Vera sang out, "All clear! All clear! Come to life, old Ellie. Stand up and take a bow. That was some fantastic act. Just super." "That was no act," said Ellie. "I was too scared to move. Scared stiff. You birds did all the acting. You even fooled me. For a minute, I thought you might peck me to pieces. What a great bunch of fakers." No, please," Vera protested. "Don't praise us too much or we might become proud. If we ever get too snooty to eat leftovers, we vultures would go hungry. Just treat us with a little respect and be grateful you have so many good friends to count on." Ellie was indeed grateful for his fine feathered friends, and when he invited them to come back to roost in his tumbaba tree, they happily accepted. After that, whenever the old lion flopped down for a catnap, he peered up into the branches to make sure they were there. the old lion discovered that life was not nearly so dreary and lonely with a tree full of friends for company. And even if they were a bunch of old bone pickers, Ellie was ever so proud of them. The end. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed reading with me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click the notification bell so you won't miss any new upcoming videos. Have a great day!